Hello and welcome to Girl Awakening YouTube. I'm Jo Hendy.
And I'm Amanda Parker. Enjoy this episode of Girl Awakening in all of its vulnerable sacredness.
And remember to subscribe and share.
Doing mindfulness practices or spiritual practices or whatever, different people actually need different practices in order to regulate their nervous system. So for my partner, his number one priority is movement, and he finds his mindfulness through doing getting deeply into his body and getting the fire up and that's his quiet place. Yeah. And yet someone would, who is attached to mindfulness, looking at very calm and zen-like, will look at him and just go, why don't you just calm down? It's like, well, actually, that is him calming down. That's him channeling the huge amounts of adrenaline and testosterone and giving them a constructive pathway to go out through, rather than building up and him becoming angry.
Hyperactive or being anything.
Or being hyperactive, maybe turning towards ADHD.
Just saying.
And for me, so classic example, this is great, such a good example of nervous systems and natural states. For me to get to a place of real intensity, so my partner loves road rage. He doesn't yell out the window. He doesn't yell out the window. He doesn't beep his horn. But if you're sitting next to him in the passenger side and he feels comfortable, he's just like,
what the fuck? You call that driving?
There's a whole dialogue going on. But he's also by it, so that's his adrenaline, testosterone, loves to express and have a go at someone. What do you call that? But then he's got high levels of oxytocin. So we were in the car the other day, and we were behind another car. The light had turned green, and the other car was slow. And he's just like, "Come on, you still half asleep or something?" And then his oxytocin kicks in, and he's just like, "No, it is 6:30 in the morning."
Sweet.
So it was like the warrior and the lover within 30 seconds of each other. It was hilarious. Yeah. And then, but for me to get that kind of angry means I am deeply upset. Yeah. There is something in my system that I'm not okay with, and I'm processing something. And so I was attributing the reason for him doing that, if he ever got a bit road ragey in the car, I would automatically internalize, is there something going on that he's not telling me about?
What have I done wrong?
What have I done wrong?
How am I triggering this?
How am I triggering this?
Wow.
Is there something? All of those things. Create a whole story around it. And learning that actually, no, this is just a way for him to discharge energy, and it's actually quite a constructive way because he's not yelling out the window.
The person, it's in his space.
Absolutely, it's in his space,
And it's contained.
The thing is too, for you to recognise that is what I'm hearing, because I think I'm trying to self-assess myself here. I would find that quite agitating to be around if I didn't understand the behaviour.
Right.
I would need to find my space in that, so that I don't get frazzled and distressed and try to fix it, or things like that.
That intensive energy can be very disruptive for highly empathic, sensitive people, and I'm really quite empathic and sensitive. So yes, I would have to. It would be disturbing for my system. Until I learned, that's just you expressing. There's actually nothing wrong. For me, it's there's got to be something wrong. It's there's nothing wrong. In fact, there's everything right about this because he's conscious. He knows what he's doing now. And
I guess if you're not engaging in it in a way that's trying to fix it or not change it, it becomes almost playful in a way too, isn't
now
it?
I just laugh and I'm like, "Are you having fun?" No. And he's just like, "Oh yeah, that felt so good." I'm like, "That's great. Go you."
So
keep driving.
On that too, because you are back together. Obviously, when nothing ever happened, you just kind of worked out that we needed to sort some things out. Body-wise,
I wouldn't say a year of unpacking a whole 20-year relationship, nothing ever happened.
Yes, you worked through it.
So what triggered that? Because obviously last year was this another awakening period?
Very much so. What triggered it? We just got to that crux point where we realised that we were in a very codependent relationship, and we were unconsciously holding each other back. That we were, interestingly, so rescuer victim dynamic, like the triad. What's the other one? Rescuer, victim, and perpetrator. So we were actually, but what we realised when we fully unpacked it all was, on the surface, like we would play I would be the victim, he would play the rescuer. Which is very, very, adrenaline, testosterone, because I get to be the hero.
Yeah.
Let me step in and save the day with my fantastic ideas.
Yes.
And solutions.
And you're the princess, and I'm the knight on the shining horse.
Yeah, 100%. But at the same time, I was also playing the rescuer, and he was playing the victim, because I was enabling him. I was allowing him to play that role that he felt good in, and he was getting validation out of that as well. So we were simultaneously, I was absolutely being a victim. I was totally being a victim in it at times. It didn't play out all of the time. Like we had a great relationship.
Normal life.
Normal life. Right? Yeah. We had a great relationship, but certain things would come along and it would trigger this dynamic. And and it makes sense, because when we got together, I was not very much, I was still traumatized from the rape. I was coming through like the bankruptcy, the divorce, lost a business. Didn't have any friends, nearly, I was pregnant, I'd moved to a new town, I was so overwhelmed and under-supported and under-resourced, and he was this incredible man who is incredible, who was absolutely supporting me at a very dark point in my life. The difficult, we need that. Yeah. We need someone to wrap us up and love us and hold us. And then I've got a young baby and didn't have support around me, and he's at work, and I feel like I need to say this about codependent relationships, that we, in the awakening world, we give codependency a really rough time. Yeah. But it serves a purpose.
I was going to say, it was perfect. It was exactly what you needed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for him as well.
Yeah.
I got to shower him with my adoration and love, and for him to feel valued, and we loved each other deeply in that dynamic.
And that's all you need. Yeah. Is that whatever happens around that does not matter. If the love's there, the genuine love, because I know you talked about that he was your childhood sweetheart. Yeah. Yeah, and then you went away for 7 years or whatever and got back together. Yeah. So the love was always there. Yeah. You just had to go away and experience whatever it was you had to experience, and for you it was a bit of chaos. Just a little bit. And then come back in for him. Yeah. To come back in and have that beautiful
so that you didn't have to do that together. I mean, why would you? It's like... But
it's who you are now. All of those things.
But everything needs to evolve, doesn't it? When you're long term with people, it's about building on experiences and relationship to evolve through things, as opposed to staying in a pattern that has served its purpose.
Yeah, and we're done now.
Yeah.
Amazing. And a bit like that self-talk that I was doing with myself yesterday. It was like, being on the healing journey. There comes a point where you have to not be on the healing journey anymore, because you're still playing into, I'm healing. It's just like, at some point you gotta go, shit happened, and I'm here, and I did all of this stuff to heal, and now I'm making different, and now I'm really grateful, because man, what a PhD that is.
Yes. Exactly.
Now I get to do amazing stuff with all of that, and what I can bring to the world because of it is incredibly powerful. I would never be able to bring that to the world.
And you would never change anything.
No.
Because it's who you are, it's what you're built, it's the power woman that's sitting before us, it's, all of those things that created that. Yeah.
You don't get to be powerful unless you go through some serious training.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like going to the gym. Yeah. It's going to hurt.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you have the recovery.
Yeah.
That's the guts of it.
That's the guts of it. The guts of it are gonna hurt, and then you get to the recovery stage, and then there also comes a point where it's like going beyond recovery, and now we're like stepping into, okay, now I'm stronger, and what do I do now?
Yeah.
I can up level, I can upgrade, and I can bring more stuff through.
Yeah.
And it's acknowledging levels of mastery, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
like to as you say, that where the healing, particular cycles of healing journeys finish, and acknowledging a level of mastery so that you can continue to grow at that level, as opposed to repeating cycles of what you were saying about staying in that healing still, or this is my...
Or the victim and the rescuer.
Yeah.
Same. You know.
Same.
Yeah.
And yourself as opposed to your relationship.
Yeah.
Right. Or it plays out in other relationships, other dynamics. It's gonna play out somewhere.
Yeah. Well, what you were saying about your ancestral work, I mean, we do that with our kids then, don't we? If it's not our partner, it's,
Absolutely.
you know, we continue it that way somehow.
Yeah.
You know.
So beautiful. I resonate big time with what you're saying, especially around the relationship stuff, because there's a time where you need to separate out, but you're more connected than ever.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, just goosebumps, full body. Absolutely. And I feel like where we're at now is a reimagining of our relationship. And I've actually created a program around it, which is based on epigenetic profiling and called Relationship Translation, where I help people understand each other through the lens of how they are hormonally wired, because it's not just our nervous system, it's also how we see the world, the framework that we understand the world to, how we respond emotionally to things is all down, our core wounds, core needs, core desires were pretty damn predictable, actually.
Yeah.
Like there are 6 key hormones that are, like, we have all of the hormones, and we have all of those 6 hormones and many, many more, but it's varying degrees, and there's going to be 1, sometimes 2, like with my partner, he's right on the cusp between adrenaline and testosterone, so activator, and oxytocin, which is a connector. So he's like right on the cusp, and we have to look at both of those archetypes. I treat them kind of archetypally as well.
Awesome.
Very, as you're talking, I'm like, I'm going, human design, because
I think this is where it meets.
Yes, it's all of those things.
So I reckon human design is amazing, and it feels to me like human design is like this soul level.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Soul level map.
Yeah.
And then
I just had a little orgasm.
Yeah, I did.
Triggered.
Something's being activated.
Sorry.
It's like the mind and the spirit and the body and the heart all coming together.
Oh wow.
I think it's awesome.
Realizations at once. Keep going. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh my god, it's great.
The human design brings so much in that aspect of...
epigenetics, like pH360, epigenetic hormonal profiling, gives you like hour by hour practical, like how to map out your whole day in terms of how you eat, how you move, how to set up your day to just be in natural flow, how to arrange your physical environment, how to work, and what your natural genius and talents are. So then you've got like because I'm a manifestor, I manifest 6'2" for the people who want to know.
That's so cool.
and they'll be like, oh yeah, I can pick that.
Yeah, underline the queen.
Queen Hermit. And so I'm Gemini. I'm a Gemini as well. So that piece of like kind of understanding then, and my dominant hormone is serotonin. So it's like, okay, how do I regulate? So when we're talking about dominant hormone, what that means is, what is the hormone that I most need to pay attention to regulating, and how does that look? And everything in your profile is designed essentially for the regulation of your dominant hormone and your unique blend.
Yeah.
So as someone wired by serotonin, it's like, first of all, understanding it and going, I'm wired by serotonin. No wonder I have been prone to depression my whole life, because if it's not regulated, you're going to go into depression.
Oh, wow.
Ta-da!
Yeah.
Suddenly I'm not broken, I'm just dysregulated.
Yeah. Oh, that's
How
so
amazing.
amazing.
Yeah. Right?
You know, I've heard you talk, about
the
this.
peanut butter and banana sandwiches.
It's
Probably not for my profile.
Yeah,
but I love the
It sounds complicated, but it's actually extremely simple.
It's so simple.
Yeah.
And when I'm looking at trauma through the lens of this, if we know how to regulate our nervous system in our own unique way, then I reckon we can deal with about 80% of our trauma. Yeah, we're still going to have to unpack some stuff, but if we can regulate our systems, then we can handle the hard stuff.
Yeah.
Trauma happens because we're disempowered. Like we feel traumatized because we're in a shitty situation that we're not empowered in effectively. But we can deal with that. We can move through our trauma and our trauma responses by unpacking it in a regulated manner. So if we're trying to unpack our trauma and we're dysregulated, we're just going to re-traumatize.
Yeah.
Well, and you get more and more disconnected from yourself, more overwhelmed, and more
create more stuff.
Create more stuff.
Yeah.
Going into like your trauma while you're in a trauma response, like terrible idea. Don't do it.
Yeah.
But if we can disconnect a little bit, actually, unhook the emotion from the experience of what happened, so we can actually look at what's gone on through a more clarity and
become the observer of whatever it is.
Become the observer, the witness, whatever. Then we are suddenly in this very powerful place of like, okay, this is the thing that happened, right? This is what I made it mean. This is how I've crafted my life to kind of accommodate that aspect of me. Is that useful anymore? And also, and is what I've made it mean true? I think
that's a big one, isn't it?
That brokenness piece. It's
and
like, I'm healing and I'm broken. It's like I told myself that story for many, many, many years, you know.
And it becomes your identity.
It becomes your identity. And it's okay. It's okay. Sometimes we need the arm around. You're broken. Never you're broken. You've never been broken.
Yes.
You're ever broken.
Yes.
You've been dysregulated, or you're not self, or you've
Yeah.
been out of your.
And you're not self. Yeah, that's
I love that.
And I love that.
For me, that's one of the biggest self-witnessing sentences. Is that what I made it mean true?
Yeah.
I made it. Is that true?
Is that true?
What I made it.
And you need to have the willingness, don't you, too, to want to change it. Because a lot of people actually really like their identity of the victim.
100%.
And,
or the perpetrator.
Yeah.
Or the narcissist.
There has to be a time where you've got to stand up and say, this needs to change. You've got to be willing to do that.
Yeah.
And want the change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it's going to, like there were probably times in my 20-year prior to, because this is my next iteration of my beautiful relationship with my incredible partner. There were times where it was not time, like where I would have picked up and gone. There was something. I know that there were times during that where I was like, this is like we're doing this thing again, and it's the pattern is not good.
Yeah.
But that dynamic is actually serving us for right now.
Yeah.
For both of us, we weren't ready to go through that.
Sure.
To go through what we had to go through.
Yeah.
Prior to that.
Yeah.
And so it's okay to stay in that place.
Yeah.
For a time.
Yeah.
I love what you're saying, because I think we need to let ourselves off the hook, and that's the starting point. Because I think as soon as we let ourselves off the hook for whatever, we create a tiny bit of space around us.
Yes.
And then that space is where we start to reflect and start to go, okay, this is what's happening. But we need to let ourselves off the hook first.
Yeah.
Because when we're in it, we're in it. We can't. There's no space around us to see anything.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And also, and this was my thing yesterday, one of the other alchemical moments was when I started CrossFit.
I love CrossFit. so not Girl Awakening, like
It's so Girl Awakening.
I
It
watch
is epic.
CrossFit every day.
She
I'm
bangs on it
obsessed.
big time.
To me, if you're listening to Girl Awakening,
We want you on.
And Cara,
Yes,
actually see Cara
Cara's
at the market.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I'm still a bit starstruck. I'm like, I can't say anything, but like, I
But
love that you're
I'm
buying
already
bananas
sitting with
next
my
to me.
coil up there, just listening to I'm going to
I
sit
love
straight up.
CrossFit. How incredible are they? Human beings, like next
Yeah.
level incredible.
Next level, yeah.
Like,
next level.
Wonder what
So
their
glad
epigenetics
I knew I
are.
loved you on
Wild.
another level.
Yeah, I reckon it might. Well, actually, no. I do have suspicions,
Yes.
but but also it is it's a science, and
Yes, we're not going to just go.
we
playing
can't.
with it.
Yeah, why did you say that then? Why did you just say I love CrossFit?
Yeah, so she
Where are we
just started.
going?
She just
That's
started
where we're
CrossFit
Oh,
as a way of.
Yeah, that was like an alchemical point
Okay.
of shifting out of victim state and finding my power and my strength. And that was actually starting that and getting strong, because I was 36 when I started, and I really hadn't exercised before that. And when I got strong, that was the first time that I had enough like inner reserves to get angry about my abuse.
Oh wow. Yeah, beautiful.
Prior to that, I'd been in a spiritual bypassy place of like, like I understand, and like they didn't know any better, and that's all true.
Yeah.
And it was, but what it meant was that anger, that power, like my sovereignty, it just, I was internalizing the anger and killing myself from the inside.
And the minute you stepped into honouring your physical, you activated the cellular memory and you set it free.
Yes.
Yeah, wow.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly
This
That's
is
exactly
so
what happened.
amazing. Yeah.
And then I went through my Black Widow phase.
Oh.
Was this after the CrossFit stage?
I started CrossFit.
Yeah.
And then I started, like, I lost all of this weight.
Yeah.
And I put on all of this muscle, and I changed from out of like housewifey kind of clothes,
To
like
loving
housewifey hippie
yourself,
clothes,
yeah.
to like
Fully shredded, like.
to kind of like festival, like totally like ripped, strong, fit festival chick.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
You did a Demi Moore, baby. You did a Demi Moore.
and
Twisted.
I actually realised, it took me a couple of years to realise what was happening, and I think this is important. This is a really important piece for anyone who's been raped or sexually abused. Watch out for this bit. And you've suppressed it, and you've been in like the kind of the victim state, but also the internalized self-loathing state.
Yeah.
When I started to get strong, and then I got angry, and then I was looking for a fight.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
That was my Black Widow phase. I was dressing very provocatively
Yeah.
because I actually wanted
Oh,
a man to try something on me,
so you could punch him out.
so I could fight him because I could now, and I would fucking win.
Yeah. Wow. So you went from being totally disempowered,
Wow.
violated,
You're so
to
interesting.
just going, I'm gonna take back all of that, reclaim.
And bring it.
Yeah.
Bring it. I want it. And of course, none of them came anywhere near me.
Then you didn't have a chance.
I'm going over here.
But isn't that like the
Wow, what a beautiful realization! Like that you even know that you were doing that.
Took me a couple of years.
Yeah, I get that. It was a phase. It was something you
definitely
had to
a phase.
walk down
Yeah.
to see it.
Yeah.
Was that kind of the first time when you stepped into that Black Widow space? Was that like the first time you felt that, innate power in yourself, the physical?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And she was ferocious.
And I guess physical mental sovereignty, I guess
Yeah.
you'd say, isn't it?
Yeah. And there was a beautiful moment, actually, a number of years down there, because I very much activated my inner warrior.
Yeah.
And you can still see parts like.
Oh yeah, she's amazing. She looks strong as a beautiful body.
Yeah, it's
incredible.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
I've got like my Viking armband. I'm wearing fur, like I've just come back from.
No, you know what you're reminding me of.
Oh, tell me.
Now I've got these tiles, and I've got to talk why. But I've got these beautiful tiles at home, and they have these. They're like warrior women, so they wear crowns their breasts are out, beautiful breasts, and they're wearing these very strong, like almost like knights armor, but their boobs are showing. They've got strong, and that's what you reminded me of. As soon as I saw you, I was like, oh my god! And I've had them, no joke, for about 25 years. Before I even become really aware and conscious of other things, I had to buy these tiles at these markets, and I've got 3 of them. They're all different women.
I love that.
And they've got wings. They've got massive wings. They're beautiful. And I've carried them around from each home that I've moved to, and they've always just been somewhere like I sit on my toilet and I look at one, and I see it every day, and I was like, you remind me of that. Yeah, it's beautiful.
So beautiful.
Yeah. So it's that feminine, strong, soft, but the wings of an angel, you know, that are just there to hold and nurture. Yeah,
that's what because I was very soft, went through my, holding space stage, very loving, nurturing, holding space stage, and then I went through my like warrior, full kick-ass stage, and now it's that integration of both and finding what is the time for what for myself. First of all, it's just like, when is the time for me to soften, to rest, to be calm, to be gentle, and receive, and when is it time to get a firecracker in my butt?
It's the full circle, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like every phase you've been through, it's like so beautiful. It's the blueprint. It's the completed blueprint kind of thing. I know we're never there. We're constantly evolving, but it's like to now know all of these aspects are coming together to make it's so beautiful.
So this is bringing me back to like when you had your babies and you moved into the home birthing, the midwife space. Like for me, like becoming a mother, that was an activation of my warrior woman, mum bear, fierceness. Was this part of moving into that space initially on behalf of becoming a mother? Like, that the whole pregnancy journey, like did you find moving into because you were saying about becoming an advocate for midwifery and home birthing, that takes a lot of courage, because it's for a long time it's been a almost like a witchcraft circle, like it's now becoming more honoured as a mainstream career, service path, profession, but it's been through a lot to get there.
Definitely.
So when you were sitting in it like 20, how long ago? 15?
Yeah, my eldest is 19.
20 years ago, which 21 years ago is when I was having my first child with a midwife, but couldn't because of the insurance issues and things that midwifery was experiencing. They weren't being recognised. So to home birth, they were endangering themselves as much as they wanted to. So midwifery became like a side hustle. Underground.
Were you in this area before kids or after kids?
I was working somewhere, found out that I was pregnant, and a woman that I worked with said you should have a home birth. Yeah. And I went, not for my first baby. I want to be safe. Yeah. And she's like, just meet this woman. I was like, okay, we'll go and meet her. And she was like, well, she's fierce, powerful, loving. Yeah, she's the kind of woman that you want at your birth. Yeah. And particularly then, because I needed she's super grounded, super practical. Yeah. And I met her, and interesting on what you said, one of the reasons I decided to go with her was because in that first meeting, she said to me, okay, this is the deal with home birth, this is where we're at, I don't have insurance, this is my training. Yeah. Yeah. But if you have a baby at home and that baby dies, everyone, the whole country will know about that. Yeah, right. Wow. If you have a baby in hospital and your baby dies, the people in the next room won't even know about that. Are you prepared for that? Wow. And I thought, love it a bit. That is so brutally honest. Yeah. I can trust you. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. They make you want to cry. Yeah.
That's so beautiful to have that amount of support for your child, you know, to bring that child into that space, that honest space.
So honest, and for her, you know, she was risking a lot. She risked a lot of midwives have risked a lot to be able to be there. Like, they are prior to insurance, and you know, that was part of what I was doing, was helping for midwives to be able to get insurance, so that they could actually practice as the legitimate gold star birth service providers that they are. This is gold standard care.
Oh, it is of every part of them. They're doing it because they love it.
It's such a touchy
Home
subject,
birthing
isn't
is,
it?
you know, such a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
But they have knowledge, they have experience, they have skills there that's for the birthing, for the mother, for the father, for the child that's coming into the world. It's incredible.
Literally putting their blood, like putting their family, putting everything on the line to be able to practice and offer that absolutely transformational, evolutionary, like super, like having my babies at home absolutely changed my life. My first labour was, you know, it was 22 hours. It was hard work. It was climbing the mountain. And
screaming into the valley and then climbing the mountain.
Climbing the mountain again. So many mountains.
That's hilarious.
So many mountains.
And but it was exactly what I needed, because I was in, you know, like I gave you a bit of a framework for, I was still spiraling through depression, and it was after that being in a new town with a new baby and virtually no real connections that I felt really supported by, and my partner supporting us by going to work and earning the money. So great, which I'm so incredibly grateful for, and allowed me to be a home mama and really nurture my children and not put them in care. And that was a choice that we made. But it was very isolating and very alone, and I felt so out of my depth. I'm getting really emotional at the moment. It was that birth experience, a lot on top of lots of other things that I'd already faced. But it was that birth experience where I went, damn, I'm powerful.
Fucking amazing.
I'm thinking about the lady that actually told you should see this. Like her as an angel, like literally leading you this way. Come this way. You need to try this.
And not listening to me when I was like, oh, I should do it. She's like, just go and see it. Here's a number. I was like, I'll be forever grateful to Millie. And it was having, then I got connected with the home birth community, and then I had mission and purpose as well, and I had other women around me that we were all in that same space, and so we were able to, you know, go to each other's places and write submissions and have someone else look after our baby, or people coming out and, you know, looking after our baby and then folding our clothes at the same time and making food and all of those things, and you know, the community so absent in most of our world.
And purpose, it's community through purpose, isn't it? Sometimes is a very powerful creation. You know, and what a great service to be able to have been instrumental in bringing that about, because the people's lives that are affected through that becoming real again.
It's a legitimate choice, and the number of women and men, you know, some very good men that have been involved in the home birth community as well.
Magic.
But the number of people who have invested so much time and energy and heart and commitment into making it a legitimate choice, and it should be, because I tell you what, I've looked at comparison. Of course I have. I've looked at like comparisons between the care that you get going to an obstetrician, and as specialist emergency care, you want an obstetrician on your side.
100%. There's purposes for everything.
Absolutely. You know, there are times where it gets really hairy and you're going to need someone with surgical skills that are going to be able to support you in that. But for the vast majority of women birthing, what they need is someone who knows them intimately, who has walked the path with them, and who is supported by their network as well to be able to provide really deep, heart-centered care for you. That, you know, birth is a huge, and understands the deep spiritual and transformative nature of birth, because it is an initiation, and so many women are going through initiations that are unsupported and not even realizing that what they've gone through is an initiation.
Yeah, no, exactly. Absolutely. There could be a whole other podcast there, I reckon, around that whole topic. It's so massive, and it's a deep dive, isn't it, down into that whole conversation.
Because I just want to, because what you were talking about before around we were talking about with when you started pushing the buttons with the chronic procedures, midwifery, that journey, as you say, that intimate journey, and stepping into the birthing part of the pregnancy with that person. It's a similar scenario where you have someone who is, and beautiful Brianna, who was saying about her role as a doula. She would, you know, hold the woman's hips or do the aromatherapy oils, all these triggers that are around the birthing process, so the mother can step into that space of fully being supported and birthing. It's the same process of the mind, body, spirit connectivity. Absolutely. Of allowing the process to happen as much as possible without intervention, because it's the fear, anxiety, the unknowingness that creates a lot of need for intervention.
Absolutely. And also it's supporting the woman to step into her own power.
Yeah.
You know, that's ultimately what it is. You step over the threshold from a girl into a woman, into a mother. Yeah. And to do that, you have to, it's terrifying, and you have to step into your power.
Yeah. No, that's...
One of my good best friends, Naz, hello Naz, she described her birthing experience as the biggest orgasm she's ever had in her life.
That was my second one. So the first one was like... mountains.
Second one, clouds.
Yeah, and I actually wrote about that. I think I wrote about it in one of the Down to Birth magazines.
Oh,
I wrote all my birth stories were in Down to Birth, and actually you can find Birthing Asher in Ecstasy on, there you go, Google that, Birthing Asher in Ecstasy.
Well, we'll put that link in, Yeah,
and there's also I was interviewed for the Birth Wars years and years ago as well, which was a really interesting book looking at basically the birth wars which were turf wars.
Right.
Yes.
Between the different practitioners and the different and it's like, hey, at what point do we actually put women at the centre of care here? Yeah. Because the woman needs to be at the centre of care. The woman at the centre of care will naturally put her baby first.
Yeah, absolutely.
So writing then, did that lead you, because like you've written
got
a book?
Co-authored book. I've actually got 3 co-authored books.
Wow.
So this is the latest release. It's
Women Gone Wild.
Women Gone Wild. Yes, the Wealth Edition, and the subtext is The Feminine Guide to Fearless Living. You can find it on Booktopia. Please go and get it. I've just come back from the States on a book launch. We launched it at Barnes & Noble in Huntington Beach in California.
How cool would that
Very,
be?
very, very cool. Very cool. And then we had a She Talks, which was a combination with, so we had a Women Gone Wild and She Talks event. So I spoke at that event. I was the final speaker, and oh lordy, did I own that stage?
Well,
yay!
Big space to hold as the last speaker as well, and then
And I tried to work out what I was going to say. We only had 10 minutes, which is difficult.
We've gone an hour and 36, and we're just getting started, people. But so 10 minutes is like, wow, where did you go?
Well, I didn't do 10 minutes, but I tried to write, like I've done a TEDx. You can find me. I've got a TEDx talk called How to Thrive in an Era of Uncertainty. Genevieve Searle on TEDx, but so I was prepping, like I know how to do that framework, I know how to speak, I love a good stage, and anyone out there who wants me on your stage, please hook me up. So much fun.
Highly recommended.
But it wouldn't come.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't come. And so by the time I got up to speak, I had to go through so many layers of surrender. And I was all mic'd up, and I had my hand on the ground and a hand on my heart, and I was like, all right, I don't know what the hell's going on, but it's over to you. So I literally got up on stage and put on my absolute most Australian accent.
Classic. Love it.
Got given the microphone, handed the microphone back, went and got a prop, which was this red and black velvet stiletto chair.
Oh,
And
fabulous.
moved it to the centre of the stage, lounged on it, got the microphone and said, well, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to say.
Everyone laughed, and you need to start with comedy because that lightens the room straight away. So well done, your subconscious G.
Yes.
And they just went, and it grabbed because everyone's so done and dusted by that stage. Half the people had left, and I was like, I have not come all this way to not say what I'm here to say.
Wow.
And the
What a great way to start. I've got goosebumps on that one.
I'm feeling you starting your day with the girls, but so well done.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So at the end of it, you know, the reason that I did invest a lot, and a lot of people, you know, supported me to get there, including my, you know, partner for Matthew for holding down the fort and navigating pretty much 3 weeks without me on ground and you know, job and kids and all of the things. But ultimately, I'm here for the evolution of humanity.
Yeah.
That's my core mission in this world.
Yeah.
And however that comes through.
Yeah.
And what I feel with epigenetics, you know, with PH360 and the epigenetic profiling that I work with is a pathway that is accessible because it's not human design.
Yeah.
Because it's not astrology. Because it's not, you know, other profiling technologies like Myers-Briggs or Insight or you know, Clifton Strengths, things that are based on subjective data or intuition or anything. This is science.
Yeah.
And it talks about how we are innately wired at a scientific hormonal level that everyone can go, this makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's not, it's health, lifestyle and ancestry questions, but predominantly it's actually physical measurements of the body that give that information. So it's real.
Yeah.
It's tangible. It's visible. And it's something that is very practical and applicable that we can work with.
Yeah.
And if we understand what I learned with my relationship last, you know, deconstruction and reimagining last year was when we actually have a framework, you know, we don't understand. We can only see the world through the lens that we can look through unless we have another framework that makes sense for us and that we trust. And then we can start seeing, you know, now I can see my partner through the lens of his dominant hormones.
Yeah.
It's like, of course you are going to want to have road rage in the car because you need to channel, you've got all of this testosterone, all of this energy that needs a pathway to go somewhere.
Yeah.
This is actually a constructive way to do it. It's got nothing to do with me. And I can just actually validate you and celebrate you in your you-ness through this framework now.
So liberating.
It is.
It is so liberating.
It's having understanding for others.
So much compassion, so much grace. I know how to meet my children in a whole new way because, you know, one of them's wired by dopamine. He's very mission focused. 2 of them are wired by dopamine, very mission focused. How do I support them? How do I speak to them in a language that they care about? What are their core values? It's all written in their hormones.
Yeah. Wow.
What are they going to be naturally sensitive to? What's their core wounding? It's written in our hormones.
So interesting.
And funnily enough, Maz, the friend that I said about the birthing orgasm, her daughter is I've probably got this wrong, but she's a genetic specialist, and she's come through the whole field of intensive care, babies, newborns, all these sort of things, and incredibly, very similar to you, I think. We're incredibly intelligent, but very heart-wise as well. And you, you know, the cancers, the things that we experience in our world in these times, when you look at what you're talking about with your, you know, what they're trying to discover through science, but then when you add and say holisticness of the epigenetics that you're talking about, the hormones, the mind, body, heart connection, the spirit coming in, that's really where the answers lie, isn't it? Because you're not missing anything out. There's everything's uncovered, everything unpacked, I guess, as you say a few times.
Yeah, and you have a really, you have very, very specific guidance, like, hey, between 7 and 9, maybe just have a cup of tea. Like that. That's actually what it says. My power hour.
Instead of like going...
My power hour is, it's pretty funny. Diplomats, so with people wired by serotonin are called diplomats because we're highly diplomatic and very, very considered. And so diplomats, their power hour, everyone has a power hour, and without sort of seeing it, but there's going to be a number of there's a number of different power hours for a diplomat, for the diplomat health type. My particular power hour, because I sit I'm a 320 diplomat, right? So it's called pH 360 because it's a circle, and so there's degrees on the circle, right? So and there's 6 chunks of the pie for the 6 health types with the 6 dominant hormones. So within each of the health types, there's sort of 6 kind of 15 degree slots, right? And each one of those has like a different power hour. And a lot of the diplomats' power hours are actually around sleeping. It's like between 2 and 3, make sure you're sleeping. And
that sounds like me.
Yes, so
me.
Whereas for other people, though, it's like say between 8 and 9 at night, get really creative.
Yeah.
So that would be a crusader, wired by dopamine. It's like that's a time to down tools. It's not a time to get to be writing your lists unless it's a creative list. But it's like get into like creative stuff.
Journaling or painting.
Start envisioning more about your. It's not the day-to-day stuff. It's more like the visioning about where you want to go. What are your next steps? Like what's your forward movement? And
that sounds so interesting. Like it's crazy how many different types of what do you call them?
But totally
systems.
Yeah, deconstruct all those routines and
that
constructs
can support us to be the best version of ourselves, and I think that's what we're going for right along. I'm going to move on to the
what
last
is that? What is that?
I'm going to ask you, how do you see the world now through
I wanted to
G's
know about how does
eyes.
G support herself? Because in that, do you go with your power hours? Do you like live by your...
as much as I can, and I'm the more, so I've been working with this technology for about 3 years. I've been working with epigenetics, as I said, like I've been aware of it for about 7 years, maybe even longer now. And the chapter in this book is actually about intergenerational epigenetics and how to, it's an ancestral wealth and how to work with what's already in us. So I work with it through, following my profile, and it's got a whole food list in there, and following my recommended foods, and following my recommended movement times. Like it's better for me to do my training in the afternoon. It's better for me to have slow mornings. And I generally, my partner calls me a steam train, whereas he's like, let's like smash out the day, or let's get to the beach at sunrise, and I'm just like, see you later.
Got to build up the steam.
I've got to build up the steam, and then like 8 o'clock at night, I'm like, okay, what's happening now? So I do that. I do follow it, and also I work quite deeply with it, and I actually love teaching. So I love to teach people more through a consultancy framework so that they're empowered to use it rather than kind of coaching them. I'm like, this is a technology, this is the power of it, this is how you make it work. Because I'm definitely not the coach for everyone. But if you're like, man, give me the thing. So what I do now is I deeply tap into serotonin. It's like there's the watch to do, which is, this is a profile, this is what my profile says. And then there's a deeper understanding of what does this hormone desire, who is it crafting me to be? What are the core needs of this particular hormone? When it's dysregulated, and I actually, here's my little insight, here's my little what do? I actually imagine I have a basket of serotonin berries.
Oh, I love it.
Nice.
because diplomats would be very happy wandering through the forest and
Picking berries.
So I have a basket of little serotonin berries, and if I'm not feeling great, I look at my little basket. I'm like, oh, and I talk to them. I talk to my little serotonin berries. Are you guys okay? And they're like, no, we're really low. I was like, okay, what do you guys need? So if I'm starting to spiral into depression, or if I'm starting to feel like super exhausted, and it's hard to catch, because when you're spiraling into that space, it's like, ugh. And then I go to like, what do they need? I talk to them, and I also go to, there's a priority order. So there's 6 areas of life that we, and how we prioritize those different areas is going to be different for different people. So for me to really be thriving, my number one priority is place, my environment, but it's also my time and space, my headspace, my internal place.
Yeah.
And being in being in beauty and being inspired by the place that I'm in, and also the people I'm around.
Yeah.
But social is actually quite a long way down the list.
Yeah.
I could be quite happy. As I said, as a kid, I spent a lot of time on my own, so I've been primed as a kid to be really used to being on my own in natural environments. So place is my number one, and number two is my genius. So I need to be doing things that, like being on a podcast, or doing things where I'm
Expressing your genius.
I'm expressing my genius and working with my genius zone. And if I'm not doing that, I feel very dry and depressed.
Wow.
And
That's
so
so
knowing that,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, what part? Okay, is my environment okay? Is there anything in my environment that's like triggering me? It's like, that needs to be, and there's actually a lot at the moment that needs a lot of work. But it's like, okay, where am I going to start with that without getting overwhelmed? Right, okay, next piece. Okay, am I feeling inspired? Am I working in my genius? How do I facilitate more of that? Okay, that's the next piece. Then the third piece is fitness for me. So it's like, okay, now it's time to get a firecracker at my butt and to get back into the fitness train, and I need something a bit more warrior rather than super feminine at the moment is what I'm needing.
Yeah.
So, but it's also understanding deeply this hormone sculpt, and there are others in there as well. There's like archetypes, so like, or other health types playing out, other hormones playing out that I view through an archetypal lens. So the diplomat part of me, what does that need? This serotonin diplomat part of me, what does that need? And what is it wanting me to, what does it make me be? What is it? Yeah, so it's a depth of understanding of myself at that whole other level.
And communicating with yourself as much as you are communicating with what's around you, because it sounds like there's a lot of aspects, but once you start, as we've talked about a few times, exercising that muscle, like with intuition and things, once you start connecting with your identity, or what feels good, and in a way that honours you, as opposed to criticising you or making yourself feel bad because you're always tired in the morning or need a slow start.
Yeah,
it turns everything around, doesn't it? You're honouring yourself in a way of what we hear you describing is you're honouring yourself by loving yourself, by knowing who you
honouring
are.
what you need. So all of this that you've talked about today on the podcast, you do. So people can actually contact you and say, hey, I want to know what I need, what my body needs, what my mind needs, what my soul needs.
Yeah.
To better my relationships with others, to better my relationship with self, and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the primary area that I love, the area that I'm really passionate about working with now, obviously I've created the relationship translation. That is
perfect.
Very embodied in that work. And I love working with people. So I've had a number of different relationship clients, clients that have been, I'm actually working with a couple, they've re-signed up because it's a big time for them, but they've been together for 50 years. They're 66 and 67.
They want to still do that. I guess they're figuring it's like, why give up now?
That's a long time to be in a
How
relationship.
beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's super cool to be working with them.
Yeah.
And then, also having people who've been together for like 3 years and they were getting, we're getting married and we want to know how
should we
navigate. That's a great question.
Yes. Yeah.
And how do we navigate it, and who is this person?
Yeah.
And what are some strategies for going into it? And then also the reimagining piece, which I've done, but also like the stepping forward into something completely new. I believe that if we understand people, it is so powerful. This technology is so powerful, and definitely the framework that I work through, because it is so embodied. Like I have been there, and I've walked through the fire. Yeah. So so I love doing that, but I know that it is so game changing when we can understand. Okay. Of course they're like that. Yeah. Right, now who am I going to be about it? Yeah. And how do I show up for this? And and how do we work together? This is what my partner and I have worked out. It's like, how do we actually work together as a really amazing team, and we get to now actually be at ease with, that is so your jam. Yeah. And I call it like we dance. It's like dancing through life with each other. Yeah. Sometimes he's the leader, sometimes I'm the leader. Yeah. It depends on the scenario and who has the energy, who has the capacity, but also who has the just innate talent or the gift in that space. Yeah. Step forward and I'm going to cheer you on from the sideline. Would you like a cup of tea?
I'll have it then.
Full support.
That's amazing to recognise that, isn't it? Yeah.
The other piece is soul purpose, is following your passion, your mission, and that's something that I have also been relentless about. And actually, so I love working with people who have a mission, who are like, right, I've got this thing I want to do, and help me get into flow so that I can do it the best. Yeah. So, big plug right now. Go. I was very, very, very fortunate to have Gina Chick. I don't know if you know Gina Chick.
Yeah.
Have you watched Alone Australia?
Oh.
Alone? Yes, of course. She won.
Won.
She's incredible.
Joe, how did you know that?
I just watched that. Yeah, incredible woman.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I've known Gina for about 10 years.
Oh.
And she reached out to me to help her
Unreal.
God, no wonder she won.
I loved how she literally just decided she was there.
She was there.
Yeah.
So she wanted support for me to help her prepare her body.
Unreal.
To put on the weight.
Yes,
was going to be
that's
her
right.
buffer
She put
zone.
on like 20 kilos or something to go on it.
Yeah, like 23
That's
kilos.
great foresight, isn't it?
Yeah, she was a smart woman.
She is a smart woman.
You can tell.
She is a smart woman, and she's deeply embodied and deeply connected to the earth, and the intuitive space that she goes into. She's a highly just aware.
So aware. I said that to my husband. I said, this woman is in her truth nearly all of the time. Yeah. More than I've seen anyone. Yeah. She thinks about the space she's in and then communicates from that space. Yep. That's all I can say.
Which is pretty incredible. Connection to the presence.
The night that she laid around the fire and it was her daughter's birthday. Oh my God. I couldn't stop. Me and my husband sobbed and sobbed with her. It was the most primal, honest, authentic space. Yeah. And I think the whole of Australia resonated with her, and she was just being her pure self, and it was so beautiful to see.
And the courage, to...
We should reach out to her. I'm going to reach out to her.
Oh, Gina will introduce us.
I'd love to get her on the podcast.
To get her on the podcast.
Oh, amazing.
Flick her a message.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's an incredible human, and she's also a 5 rhythms dance facilitator, and just incredible, plus a rewilding facilitator, plus. Like, she's incredibly skilled, incredibly talented, and just deeply connected to her own truth in a way that is so needed and so inspiring. And I feel like what she did was she showed another way of being on that show.
Yes, when Joe shared that experience with me, I thought, wow, the rawness, the heart-centeredness, to share that in that kind of program, it's going to the next level and changing really what those sort of reality shows are
my
about.
God,
You know?
that was just
absolutely
pure,
change your reality shows. And
you must have loved working with her.
oh, she's a wild cat.
Yeah, she's a wild cat.
Took you.
Yes. She was an absolute delight, and just being privy, because it was all non-disclosure agreements, couldn't speak about anything, and I guess having that inside information about like where she was at and what she was doing, and not breathing a word to anyone about it until after until after she'd won. Pretty much. I was like, okay, I can actually talk about it.
I can really celebrate with her as well. I mean, after what you kind of like, basically like a midwifery experience in a way, isn't it? Like, not quite, but the intimacy you would have had.
Definitely like knowing where she was at, and it was a very closed space. She had a team, so I was really helping her like prep her body, and then she had I actually didn't meet any of the other people in her team, but there were other people that were really supporting her in different arenas to like be prepared for that. There were she gathered resources from lots of places, but it was really it was a real honor to just have someone that was so on mission, but also on a mission that I care about as well. It's like, damn, yes, you win this, you show, you be the full courageous version of yourself televised to Australia and the world, showing us a whole new way of being.
So she did it for herself, but also more than herself is what
so
I'm
much more for
it was
herself.
incredible. It was incredible, and without because I'm sure she wouldn't even appreciate
the ripple effect.
Well, even the way that we talk about her, like she's on a pedestal, I don't think she would even agree with that. Do you know what I mean? She's that type of woman.
Yeah.
She just wants to say, what you see in me is in you. So go and be it. Don't look at me and put me somewhere above you. I am exactly a reflection of you. Yeah. She was just so authentic and so amazing and so incredible. And like I said, she just said whatever was going on in her mind, and so she could clear it and move on to the next thing, because there was she only had herself to deal with out there and to face, nobody else. So she did have moments where I think she felt, can I do it, but she would talk her way through it. She would communicate her way out of it and through it. It was so beautiful to watch. Incredible. But let's we're gonna move on, because we're literally
come back to the
really
question that Joe tried to ask 40 minutes ago.
How do you see the world now?
And what do you see
your
next for
lens?
us? Two parts to that question.
I see the world at a precipice. I see so many lights. Gina's one of them, for example. I've met a whole bunch of women through the Women Gone Wild movement. I've met a whole bunch of women through the Feminescence movement, which I'm also part of. Sharmore is creating that impact book, and she was a gateway woman for getting me into publication, writing books, and these other women that I'm working with in these different spaces. I see so many lights and so many threads of connection. And also I see so many people that, I was over in the States, and it was very eye-opening as well. There were a lot of people on the streets living in tents. I was in San Diego, downtown San Diego, and did not feel safe in the middle of the day. So it's this really, it's an interesting place of where could it go? And I guess that's part of the reason why I will, apart from the fact that they're incredibly fun, keep getting on podcasts and keep talking about what I'm doing and keep speaking keep weaving a story of hope and possibility that, and keep offering, keep showing, hey, there's this thing that I work with. It's not my technology. It's this platform that I happen to be trained in. But I think that it can change the world. I really think that it can change the world. I believe that our purpose, our potential is literally written in our bodies, and this pathway can read that. And when you have, you know, a practitioner who can also read it at a deeper level, and I love showing people, like sharing that with people. So it's like, I believe that the world has the potential to really evolve very rapidly, and also I believe that there is a lot of lossless and a lot of darkness, and for it to evolve to where it has the potential to evolve, there are going to be the people who probably are listening to this podcast who maybe need to get really real and really honest, and I'm also speaking to myself here, about showing up when it's scary, or showing up when it's uncomfortable, in our true genius. And that, I guess, is one of the things I hope to facilitate through inspiring that. It's just like, yeah, showing up in your true genius is fucking scary, and it's going to take you to your knees. And also, it's beautiful. It's amazing. And when you do that, you can't ever go backwards.
Yeah,
You can't
feeling the
say
fear
no.
and doing it anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if not now, when, and if not you, who?
Yeah, put your warrior woman bracelets on.
Yeah,
And
just
get out there.
get your Wonder Woman armbands out.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That is
that is really
a
powerfully
lovely
true.
way to round it off. It's our longest podcast.
Yeah. And well,
Love it, and very worthy of.
yeah.
So much amazing information, and we will put
Thank you,
all
G. Yeah.
of your information at the bottom of the podcast. So the links.
There's going to be the longest links as well. There's
Yeah.
several
Yeah,
links.
several links. If anybody wants a bit of what G has shared in this podcast, we will have all the links below. It's wow, incredible. Thank you, beautiful woman,
On
for
the
coming
podcast
on.
and the YouTube channel, if you want to see more of G, as well as the links directly
See the
to.
fluffy chest, the fluffy vest, and
Yeah.
the armbands.
Yes.
And my amazing, actually, I'm going to share these shoes.
Oh my
Oh,
God,
yes.
these shoes are wild.
I
Yeah.
wonder if I can get them. Can I?
Jack your leg up on the table.
Yeah,
Oh, they're hot.
they are hot.
For our listeners, they're
Yeah.
a gorgeous pair of.
You could
They
almost
almost
run
look
in
like,
them,
I was
but
going to
you
say, they almost look like
can't.
sneakers with a heel.
Heels, they're called Kicks, Kiques, and I'm going to share them because this woman, I was given these shoes to go to the States in, and the woman is a local woman,
Yeah.
so she's a Goldie.
GC women, Goldie.
Oh, epic. How do you spell them? K?
Kiques.
Oh.
And her little tagline is heels with sneaker feel.
Yeah, that's what they look like.
Yeah.
And they look
Yeah,
really
heels.
cool.
They're
They're
like
my
heels.
type of heels, actually.
They are amazing, and I have to say, like, I walked because I was staying at Airbnbs, and I was like, there's only so many cabs you can get. I walked kilometers carrying a 5-litre bottle of water, thing of water in each hand
Wow.
with these shoes on.
Oh, wow.
Epic. So they're
And I would do it again.
Hal
Yeah.
CrossFit shoes.
Yes, yes. Actually, I just had a vision like with the 5 people must have thought you were like doing some kind of weird workout because like the water in those shoes, it's like mountain training for base camp or something.
Yeah. That's so cool. Yeah, no, they're
I
they're
loved every
gorgeous.
minute with you
Yeah,
today.
me
It's
too.
just
It's
been
been such a
incredible.
delight.
Yeah, thank you so
for
much.
having me.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
much incredible sharing and a lot for people to unpack
Absolutely.
and take away.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
G.
Mm.
Thank you.
Whoa! Thank you
That
so
was
much. It was just
epic.
the
Far
best
out.
experience. It's very
That
incredible.
was really
Mm.
amazing. Really amazing. Far out.
Super fun.
Yeah.
So many links over. Because is your auntie Mandy Colray? Who was Oscars?
What?
Oscars.
Oscars.
Yeah.
Mandy Colbrick, was it?
No,
No.
Narelle Wern.
Narelle Wern. Okay. Because
I can't believe you know
No,
Gina
but-
Chick. I just watched
Yeah,
that.
that's.
Is that her last name, Chick?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know her last name, but I just finished watching that last week, I think it was. I
Yeah.
just